So today on the Agamaga podcast, we're kicking off our introduction series on A Course in Miracles. And in this episode, we start from the very beginning with a high-level overview of what it is. So let's get started. A Course in Miracles, it's a complete self-study spiritual thought system made up of 3 books and 2 pamphlets. And in the original editions, each of the books was bound separately. And in later editions, the different books have been bound together in different compilations. And I'm reading from the second edition of the book, which has the 3 core books together. And they're bound as one. And then it has the 2 pamphlets as kind of separate addendums or extensions of the course. And in the third edition or the current edition, you'll find books that have the 3 books and the 2 pamphlets all bound together. So the first book of the Course in Miracles is called The Text, and it lays the theoretical groundwork for the teaching. It's kind of like the manual. And in the second book, it's called the Workbook, which has 365 daily lessons or meditations. And this is the experiential component of the course. So this is where, the rubber kind of meets the road. You get a clear understanding of the text, and then you apply it to the meditations in the daily workbook lessons. And the third book is called the Manual for Teachers, and it was written later, and it gives people further explanation of terms that people studying the course are confused by or can be confused by. You see, because the course uses traditional Judeo-Christian sounding language and terms, but the meaning of these terms are sometimes, quite different from how we've been taught in traditional Christianity. Okay, and then finally, the 2 pamphlets are Psychotherapy, Purpose, Process, and Practice. And the second one is called The Song of Prayer, Prayer, Forgiveness, and Healing. And so, again, the Course in Miracles, it's a mind training program, and it can be thought of as a bridge between psychology and spirituality. There are some who, say that the Course is a correction of Christian teachings, and some see it as what they call East meets West, or Eastern religion meets Christianity, kind of like Buddhist practice, Christian language. And some see it as a teaching on non-duality, and really different from other non-dual teachings in that it's uncompromising in its stance. There are several different teachings we could talk about that promote non-duality. But this is really something quite different, and that will become apparent as we discuss it and compare it. So it's all these things, and still it's much, much more nuanced and encompassing, and it really needs to be unpacked and experienced directly. I think I said that in their introduction, that really it's all about experience. And I also mentioned that I've explored various spiritual paths and traditions for, the past 30, 35 years. And during most of that time, the Course has always been my study companion. I've always turned to it and read from it and applied it, whether I was studying Buddhism or I was in Gnostic tradition, spent a lot of time in plant medicine community, studied Kabbalism, and throughout the time, I'm always going back to the teaching of the Course, because it's such a perfect and beautiful teaching. So anyway, as a result of all my exploration, as a result of all that exploration that I've done, I've really gained a broad and sometimes deep intellectual understanding of these different thought systems. But more importantly, I've had various peak experiences or visionary experiences which have given me insight into the nature of reality, or a view into the nature of reality. And, this has given me a lot of insight into the limitations of just intellectual understanding and blind faith. Like in Buddhism, it's a very deep intellectual process. And I don't want to get into all of the benefits, and I think there's also some detractions that happen from that. It can be a very, very intellectual experience, even though meditation is part of it, mind training is part of it. But the Course, again, is something different. And as we go, I'll speak more about that. So in the end, I've kind of arrived at the conclusion that we must have tools and practices that lead us to direct experience of our true self and of God. And intellectual understanding just alone, it will not take you there. And it's so important, I will continue to say it, and I'm going to repeat it here again, that intellectual understanding alone will not bring you to a spiritual experience. And that is what the Course is. It's a curriculum designed to bring you to an experience of your true self, to your higher self, which is a supernatural experience. And And when I say supernatural, it's like, it's supernatural. It's the only thing that is natural, understanding or having an experience of our true self. And so with that said, we still need conceptual understanding of teachings, and we need a conceptual understanding of the Course teachings so that there's not confusion when we're doing the practices which can lead you to this experience. And in Buddhism, this is sometimes called holding the correct view. It will be very helpful to have the right view or to have the right understanding in order to be relaxed and to have an open posture when doing the lessons, when practicing the lessons of the workbook, and also implementing some of the techniques that the text talks about. So I'm just going to quote something from the Course here real quick. The Course states that a theoretical foundation such as the text provides is necessary as a framework to make the exercises in the workbook meaningful. Yet it is in doing the exercises that will make the goal of the Course possible. An untrained mind can accomplish nothing. It is the purpose of this workbook to train your mind to think along the lines the text sets forth. So, and it's true, like our minds are so undisciplined. We don't even realize it until you reach that place of discipline. You don't even realize how undisciplined your mind is. And that's one of the benefits of other mindful teachings. Like in Buddhism, it's really, really good at being able to teach how to still the mind. And then the question is, well, what do you do with a still mind? So anyway, the most important thing about the Course will be to do the workbook lessons, but the text really provides the proper view or framework for practicing. Because like I said, our minds are so undisciplined, and our allegiance is to a thought system that is really hiding our true self from us. And so the Course is a mind training program that helps us remove the blocks to our true self. The Course would say that, the aim of the Course is to remove the blocks to love's presence. And that's really a profound statement in many ways. You could think of your higher self as love. You could think of God as love. So the Course is a mind training program that helps remove the blocks to love's presence so that you can experience your true self, so you can have an experience of the divine. So, I guess we could think about, the process of growing food. And, if you're going to grow food, you first need to till the soil, and then you need to enrich that soil before you can plant a seed so that you can get a good harvest. And, so in that analogy, you could think of the mind as the soil. The text does the mental tilling and enriching. The workbook lessons are the seeds that are planted in the mind. And then, the daily practice of the lessons will bear the fruit for your harvest. And so one other thing I would like to talk about quickly is that, you'll hear the Course referenced in pop culture, and it's been highly popularized and referenced in the New Age community. It's often incorrectly associated with other New Age concepts. You've probably heard of like the law of attraction or karma or manifestation and other kind of similar prosperity gospel teachings. And, these teachings, they really correctly point out the power of the mind. And the message of the Course has been twisted and confused by these ideas. And the Course is really different from these ideas. It is not about, the law of attraction or karma and karmic retribution or manifestation. The reason and the purpose of the Course and its message is really the complete antithesis of these New Age teachings, and we'll be talking about more of that in our podcast on what it says. So for today, I just want to thank you for joining us. We hope this episode gives you inspiration to continue your reawakening journey. Please like the podcast so it can reach others, and leave us a comment or question. And until next time, may you continue to be blessed by life, and may you experience the peace, joy, and love which sustains you. And remember, you're exactly where you need to be. The teacher is within you. Your life is your path. And teach only love, for that is what you are.